This is the G Podcast with your host, Tommy B.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 219 of This is the G Podcast. Yes. I am Tommy B, and there's no shaking going on in the A. Well, not yet. At least, man. New York, what a week. Wow. Each week we do news, politics, pop culture, and the piping hot tea from the one and only Tonya B. Syracuse Mike has your news update in a few minutes. The Newsmaker crew is here. Talib and Vi join me to discuss when trying to speak for all black people goes bad. We'll talk about that. Where is this puffy thing headed? And also we'll talk about women's basketball. That universe is on fire. But first, let's get into news with Syracuse Mike.
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
Monday, former President Donald Trump posted the $175 million bond required in his New York civil fraud case. Also, a judge approved a gag order in Mr. Trump's hush money case. Off limits are attacks against the judge's family. Florida voters will get to decide in November whether abortion rights should be guaranteed in the Constitution. That was the ruling Monday from the state Supreme Court. However, in a separate ruling, the court upheld the 15-week abortion ban already in place and will allow the 6-week ban approved by Governor Ron DeSantis and the Republican legislature to take effect. DeKalb police have identified the man who rammed into the gate of the Atlanta FBI office on Monday. He is Irving Bowling of South Carolina. We understand that the driver tried to follow an FBI employee's car as it entered the fence and gated parking lot of the FBI office in Chamblee. But the gate closed and an iron block came out of the ground, destroying the front end of the vehicle. It was searched with robotic detecting devices. No explosives or weapons were found. Authorities are scratching their heads for a motive because the suspect seemed to be just an average citizen with a family, working as an insurance broker, and no prior criminal record. Bowling was taken into custody and transported to a local hospital for mental evaluation. The FBI said it is considering both state and federal charges against Bowling. The president spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today for the first time since the Israeli strike that killed 7 aid workers with World Central Kitchen. He told Netanyahu that what's going on in Gaza is unacceptable. According to the White House, he also warned that U.S. policy toward Israel could change if they don't implement a series of steps to address the humanitarian crisis. Mr. Biden also said an immediate ceasefire is essential for meeting those goals. An earthquake rocked New York City this morning. The 4.8 magnitude quake originated in New Jersey. Engineers say it would take a 6.5 or higher to cause problems for the city's skyscrapers. There are only reports of minor injuries. Israel has dismissed 2 officers and reprimanded 3 others for their roles in drone strikes in Gaza that killed 7 aid workers from World Central Kitchen. The military says they mishandled critical information and violated the Army's rules of engagement, and continues to say the attack was a mistake. And Judge Scott McAfee rejected former President Trump's argument that the First Amendment shielded him from racketeering charges in Georgia because his claims of widespread election fraud are just political speech. So the case will not be dismissed.
Hey, appreciate it, Mike, for the headlines, man. By the way, Talib, Mike said, "Who is Yoda?" I know, man. He laughed so hard he froze. But anyway, thank you, Mike, for the headlines. Talib and Vi here. No Newsmaker trivia for the week this week, y'all. Hope you both had a great spring break. Talking about Vi went to New Orleans. Good for you, man. Good for you. I just stayed in the A.
Right, it's always raining somewhere.
I just live vicariously. Vicariously through Vi. That's all I do, man. Give it up for the country commentator.
I'm trying to make up a lost time, bro.
Man, I hear you, man.
The military robbed me of 30 good years.
There you go. I don't blame you, bro. Get on out there. Don't blame you at all. But I'm going to live vicariously through you. And y'all give it up. He wearing a Falcons hat today, y'all. Y'all give it up for the one and only Talib Shabazz.
What's happening?
I don't know if that's a positive move or a protest move.
Well,
I'm not sure.
It's hey, man, we're not bandwagon folks. You know, ride or die, good or bad, I'm with them.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead, there. You and Biggity Bankster, one of our followers. He's do or die. Do or die.
Hey, I'm with you on that. I'm with him all the time.
I'm going to have to, call suspect when I see it. Okay.
Right.
You can call it and still be ride or die.
Yes, I'm going to call it. All right, let's jump right into it, man. We got a lot to talk about. We took off a week, and, I definitely want to hear what you fellas have to say, man. I'm going to start with everybody's fan favorite, Charlamagne from the Breakfast Club. He appeared on The Daily Show with what a lot of folks are calling an irresponsible take on DEI. In the segment, he made it pointed to the television commercials that aired after the death of George Floyd. Which a lot of people agreed. Some of them may have been a little bit over the top with these companies. He noted how several companies still have all-white executive teams making calls on a lot of these scenarios and situations involving DEI. I think the issue, and I'm going to go to you, Talib, first and then go to Vi. The issue is recklessly saying it's mostly garbage. And a lot of folks point to the fact that he's not an expert, nor does he really refer to any statistics or any experts to even be able to refer to it as garbage. One expert, and I think this was in Forbes, quoted saying 94% of the participants in the program that they use deem the sessions as practical and useful. So they got something out of it.
Right.
And yes, I mean, in every industry, no matter what you're doing, it could be driver's ed, it doesn't matter. In every industry that teaches, there's always a situation where you've got bad apples. That's just the nature of the beast. But to just go national and label something garbage is irresponsible. And what makes it even more egregious for me, and I'll go to you, Talib, is that a lot of his audience is Black or brown. And in a lot of cases, these people have, again, DEI is not just Black.
Right.
I don't know why Black people have just 100% being associated with DEI. That's not the case. But we benefit.
Yes.
Even from the people who are leading the charge, a lot of them are Black or brown. So the interesting thing is you throw garbage on something that could be benefiting your own people. So from one other point of view, they say it came across as if he's parroting the right wing and a lot of the alt-right, a lot of these racists. So I'm gonna go to you, Talib. What are your thoughts when you saw that?
Well, when I watched this segment, I just thought, okay, here's Charlamagne again. He's not funny. Number one, I know that the Daily Show has, writers, but to be honest, I didn't find it humorous at all. I think that when it comes to programs like affirmative action, DEI, these things are being set up to counterbalance, all of the negativity that surrounds, Black and brown or melanated people, trying to make it in a Caucasian world. I will say that, he might be correct in his stance on some of these programs not really being beneficial or the most beneficial, because this is a relatively new, like within the last 10 to 15 years, it's not an exact science. DEI programs have only been around for a very limited time. So you might have some scenarios where, this seems like it's stupid. What you're learning in class, the fact that, you should have somebody instruct you in how to treat coworkers, because there are now more people entering the workplace that don't necessarily look like you. not only is it, to me, is it irresponsible, I just think it was mean-spirited. Like a lot of what Charlamagne does. He's mean-spirited. His interviews, if you watch The Breakfast Club and you see what he does, he's there to start trouble. He's there to create controversy. He's there to get things going, and he does it well. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I hear you. Let's go to you, Vi. Vi, your thoughts?
I watched it, but I couldn't watch all of it. I said, this dude, he's like a male Candace Owens.
That's what it felt like.
Dude, really, it's like the slogan, don't do drugs. Okay. It didn't cure everything, but it did help. And I'm like, who said DEI? Okay, DEI. It ain't causing no problems now. It ain't causing no problem. He said, who caused all the problems? White male. Every time a white male been completely in charge of everything is messed up. So, I mean, if you got a problem with DEI, okay, make it better. Don't get rid of it. We don't want to go back to the old white male rule because that didn't work neither. So why you keep trying to go back to the old way? That's the reason why the DEI came out. So if it don't work completely, nothing works 100%. But instead of getting rid of it, improve it. Cause it's clear that we need it. There's so much racism in this world, and why America is so afraid of men that is here, I have no idea. Cause it's here. The whole world knows there's a lot of racism in America, except for the United States. So admit that we got a problem, then maybe we can fix it. So no.
Yeah, except for Tim Scott.
No. And I can't listen. I can't listen to people like that. I can't listen to you. So you just ignoring all the things going on in this world that show you that it exists.
Yeah. Let me go back to you, Talib, real quick, and I'll jump in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's funny how all of these, anything that's there to balance out, the colonial mindset is deemed, a weapon by the conservative right at the moment, to call Baltimore's mayor a DEI mayor. These people, it seems like they always try to find something that creates a rallying cry around an issue that's really a non-issue. And they're using DEI now as another way of just saying Negro or, melanated person. And, it's just more political tactics. It's just more of this sleight of hand that I always talk about, and it's old. It's really, really old now, That's all I want to say.
And I'll say this, and, I'll give you the last word on it, Vi. I'll say that it's unfortunate that this is all about the boogeyman. Right. This is all about stirring up a base. That's why in a lot of cases, instead of talking about the real issues that we need to fix as a politician, you want to find a culture war issue that can get people pissed off and upset. And it's unfortunate that you got a guy who is targeting our people, our audience, who, doesn't understand that he's a puppet, or he does know he's a puppet, and in a lot of cases, these guys, you work for these companies, they're just like, the owners of BET, Viacom, Paramount, the company that owns, his station or his syndicated platform also run Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, and for years ran, Rush Limbaugh. So, it's understood.
Well, I'm going to say this. I hate this about my people. To us, majority of us, or some of us in that world, is all about that bag. How do you call it? That bag. I'm going to get my bag. Regardless of the consequences of what you do to your people or how it makes you look, you're going, long as I got that bag, I'm okay with it.
And that's really what I wanted to say. It's about the bag. It's about ratings and revenue, unfortunately. Right. And we were having the conversation, and we'll get into it later, about Puffy. In a lot of cases, a lot of people look the other way because it was about the revenue. It's about that money.
Right.
Even with R. Kelly, a lot of people look the other way because it was about that money. But when people when they cease to generate the revenue to help these companies, you see where they head. You see where they go. And, when you're no longer useful, you see where you go. And that's why you got a ratings house. Right. But let's go ahead to the next thing. Appreciate y'all on that. First of all, let me say we're taping on Saturday, so we're taping after the Final Four in women's basketball. And let me just say that Iowa-UConn ending was a travesty, goddammit. I hate when the refs allow stuff all game, and then they get down to the end, and all of a sudden they want to be angels, and they want to do the quote-unquote right thing, and they make a call of this illegal pick that, honestly, for those of you who don't follow basketball closely, it was an easy no call. It didn't have to be called, but they called it. Either way, I will say Caitlin Clark deserves credit for being a great scorer. You can't deny that. But in terms of calling her the GOAT, she needs to win championships. Okay, that's my take on that. She has time to do that because, of course, now the finals are coming up. So she's going to be against South Carolina. That could be the first championship as a collegiate player. Then she goes on to the WNBA. The Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing has been good for women's basketball. It's been massive. Tens of million viewers watch the game. The WNBA finals, y'all, only about 1.3 million in total watch the national broadcast. Their games are selling out now on the women's collegiate side. People are paying 3 times the ticket price, eclipsing the men games. Do y'all think this is going to translate for the WNBA the same way? If you remember back in the day, because we're old enough to remember Bird and Magic. And y'all know, before Bird and Magic, the NBA was struggling. They had a bunch of coke heads. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was bad. It was going downhill. They didn't know where to go. They didn't have the international players coming in, and they were trying to make a decision. They were losing money. And then all of a sudden, this Bird Magic that thing saved the NBA. Do you think this is going to translate into helping the WNBA? Because we know the women don't make enough money. They have to go overseas at the end of every season, or like Brittany Griner went to Russia, and got into the situation. Do you think it's going to help? Let me start with you, Vi, and I'll go to you, Talib.
Only if Caitlin and Angela is part of the top 5 players. If they're not part of the top 5 players or top 3 players in WNBA, then no. Whatever team they got to go to, got to be fighting for championship. Because that's what Bird and Magic did. When Bird and Magic got in the league, they was ranked as one of the top 5. They were the top 5 players they got in the NBA. And their team was making it to the championship. So them 2 girls don't lead their team to the championship, and they're not talking about like the top 3 or top 5 players. No, it's not going to do it.
That's a good point. Good point. If you don't know, if you were under a rock, Larry Bird went to the Celtics, revived that organization, but they were also very competitive anyway. Yeah. And then, of course, Magic went to LA.
And they was already good. He just made them better.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, he did. Yeah, had Kareem and everything. Go ahead, Talib.
What are we supposed to do?
No, I mean, do you think? Because you know what the WNBA is now.
Yeah. So
and I'm just saying. I mean, when you look at the games, even here in Atlanta, the dream. You look at the struggle to even have something at Phillips. Do you think it's going to help the WNBA? Because the collegiate side is different. Even I hear, and I'll say this, on the men's side, people say the women's games are better because in a lot of cases the women stay around long. They develop their personalities. With the guys, we don't even know who's playing.
No.
Right.
because it's on the fellas, the collegiate side, the men's side, it's one and done.
Right.
These guys come in, they out, they gone to the NBA. But on the women's side, Talib, do you think their presence coming into the league now, because even the draft is coming up on April, as we tape now, April 15th, for the women's side, do you think it's going to help the WNBA?
I would like to hope so. I think that being that I have actually checked out a dream game, I will say that it is definitely high energy. You know, the women's game, it's a faster game because it's not as flashy, you know, I guess. You know, it seems like the pace is different. Everything is, you know, to me, it was like watching like high school ball in terms of the ball movement, in terms of, you know, even the girls' mechanics on the floor, you know. So yeah, I would like to hope that, you know, this is what sparks, you know, more interest in women basketball. It's definitely done it for college, you know what I mean? And even though I think that a lot of it is manufactured, you know, it's still good for the game, you know. So I'm very hopeful that this is the kind of spark that the WNBA needs in order to get to where the players don't have to work as hard, you know, in order to be able to sustain themselves in a career from it.
You know, it's funny, man. You say manufactured. I have never seen, and you know, I played sports all my life. Okay, Vi, you played sports all your life for the most part. You've watched sports. You know, you may have played a little bit. Talib.
Oh yeah.
But bottom line is, when it comes down to it, I've never seen the word rigged as much this year and last year, these last few years, than I've ever seen in watching professional sports or sports in general. I have never, I mean, now I'm seeing it when people are conspiracy theorists to the max when it comes down to the outcomes of these games.
Oh yeah.
I have never seen them say, hey, this is rigged.
Well, you know I've been screaming that since the Falcons lost the Super Bowl.
I have. I mean, is it just me? Is it just me? The Super Bowl, the NFL rigged. You know, the NCAA rigged. The NBA is rigged. I have never seen as many people calling out the sports world as being rigged as what I'm seeing now.
Well, I will say this. You know,
so it's funny you say manufactured.
Because it is. You know, it was. I mean, obviously, you know, if you thought that whatever happened between Reese and Clark last year was a big deal, then you've never ever gone down to the neighborhood basketball court.
Big time.
And seen or heard what comes, you know, from, you know, just a simple pickup game. So, you know, these things are translated to people who are, or let me say that these people that aren't necessarily aware of these things are now receiving their translation. You know, because that's the game, period. You're going to talk trash. You know, it's competition. So tempers are high. Everything is at a fever pitch. And really, you know, if, you know, to me, Clark is almost like a Christian Leitner. You know what I mean?
I hated Leitner, man. I hated Duke. I'm sorry. I hated Duke.
Around that time, Duke was.
Oh my God, I hated Duke.
Still hate Duke.
It's.
Hey, I just got a chill down my spine when you said Christian Leitner.
I said still hate Duke.
But I mean,
you said Leitner. I said, oh shit.
Right. But I mean, in terms of the energy, in terms of the way that the attention is now on Clark is similar to how it was with Leitner. It was this whole, Hey,
but that's
what do they call it?
The hey, but there's no hate for Clark though.
Hey, let me go to you. I'm gonna go to you, Vi, because you triggering me. But first, Vi, before you start, Vi, do you think betting has a lot to do with it? Sports betting,
especially in the male world, not in the female world, but especially in.
Oh, they betting now. They betting on this women's game too.
But I'm saying, I think it more has something to do with the male than the female. The female world is all about. I think it's more about ratings because they clearly,
they need the ratings.
They clearly needed Kate and Clark to make the final. That's the only why they made that call. Even though if it was close, they said, "Oh no, we got to have Caitlin Clark in here." So that's why. Because in the beginning of the March Madness, they probably shouldn't have beat a couple of them teams because some of their fouls was so blatant. You're going, dude, why are they calling all these fouls on this team? Because the team wasn't playing that good. But last night, I mean, she did. The call could have went either way, but it was a foul. She was clearly moving when she made the pick. But like they said, with that minute, that close to the game, now you're gonna try to call that foul?
Right. Even LeBron James, LeBron tweeted, "Nah, I'm not good."
I don't care about
LeBron.
When it comes to LeBron, I love LeBron, but stuff like that, he need to be quiet. Set up and dribble.
Well, you
stuff
didn't.
Like that, he need to be quiet.
He tweeted out. I said, you know what? I tweeted back. I retweeted. I said, dude, when is the fine coming?
He milks every call he can get, so he need to be quiet.
Lord.
Oh Lord, yes.
Yeah.
Anybody but LeBron can say that.
He has flopped his ass off. Yes, he has.
If you want to go out and no one's gonna take from it, the goat of flopping is LeBron.
Because clearly, I will say this: the Iowa chick who went across the pick. Come on.
Yeah.
You
didn't see that,
God,
right? You see this,
that
right?
That was small. She didn't have to fake it. That was a small girl going against a big girl. That big girl, ooh Lord. But hey,
yeah, But I'm gonna leave it at that.
The only
all I gotta say, I'm gonna leave it.
Mad at the call,
because
it was a foul. They didn't have to call it,
right.
but it clearly was. It was not a bad call, but they didn't have to call it.
And I said this, and I want to end it, because we got one big thing. We definitely need to talk about. We've not addressed it. I will say. Again, you come down to a situation when it comes down to reps, because if you play any kind of competitive game, if the ref allows an environment, keep it the whole game.
Right.
Don't change it up
right.
in the final seconds if you allowed this because it was going on all game.
Yeah.
Right.
And they hadn't called that.
Right.
They hadn't called it. It'd been going on all game. All right, y'all. Hey, real quick. Well, I don't know if this is going to be quick or not. It really comes down to Talib, because I think.
Man, I got this kind of reputation already, huh?
No, because this is your wheelhouse, man. You kind of know. I'm not saying you were at a party. I didn't say that. I'm just saying because we missed the puppy talk last week. But it's continuing into this week because. Apparently, Cassie's still talking to the feds.
Yeah.
And if there's certain things you can't say, just hold your finger up, Talib. Hold your hand, shake it, nod your head.
Right,
give me a symbol, a sign.
Yes. Yeah.
Recent accuser Lil Rod, could be potentially about to talk to the feds, based on what they're saying, and the new lawsuit is coming in accusing Christian King Combs, committed sexual assault on a yacht back in 2022. All this stuff's coming to light right now. Where are we going, Talib, with this, man? Where do you think this is headed?
Okay, so, yeah. First things first, I don't want to see any brother or sister anybody with melanin being unfairly targeted and, accused without merit.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like the fact that, there are people that are already happy about, whatever troubles Mr. Combs is having, because I'm not. And I'm not a big fan. But at the same time, I don't want to see anybody going through legal troubles unnecessarily. With that being said, there's been some wild stuff. You know what I mean? And there's been a lot of things over time that have never really been, rectified or settled. I was surprised to see, there's a lot of interest now in the trampling case from the celebrity basketball game back in the early 90s.
You mentioned that on the show, right?
I did.
When we first started talking about this.
Yeah, because that was a big deal. 9 people were trampled and lost their lives in that incident, plus, countless other people hurt. And that was the height of the bum rush. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. The doors got bum rushed. They oversold the place, but again, it's the fact that there have been so many things that you've been able to, or that Puff has been able to apply the Teflon coating to, and he's been able to escape from a lot of scenarios where, normal people with normal budgets and, maybe heterosexual sexual appetites, are not privy to the same type of, we'll look the other way. It's like you said from the beginning. So,
damn, that was euphemistic as hell.
Because
we need to go to politics for real, man.
Hey, man, and you like that one? And, it's funny. Our friend always says that, when it comes to stuff like this, I can get real good. But really, there have been crazy parties and stuff goes on at these parties. And the fact that you have this kind of air about you that surrounds you and envelops you, with this freak behavior, man, so at some point you're going to have to answer for it, and I feel bad because knowing what kind of power broker he really was, that was a lot of that probably, it's not far-fetched to see that really happen.
Interesting thing you mentioned here, things coming back up. Even the J-Lo thing is coming back up. The club shooting with Shine, man. That's back in the news. And that's why I say, where's this thing headed? Because, I'm going to give my 2 cents. I'm going to throw it to you, Vi. I'm just going to say this. When they raided, I heard a couple of things. One of the things that I heard, it could be either one of these, is that they were either going in to recoup video footage of somebody big, because you had Homeland Security. A lot of people feel that there may be someone like really big on tape somewhere because he taped everything. They said the feds either went in to recoup that or destroy that.
Yeah, that's why they got senators and politicians. He got them on tape.
I mean, come on. This guy's been, again, he's a power broker. He's a Hollywood power broker. Yeah. So, he's got everybody because everybody wants to be around him. And that's the dynamic. That's the real issue, in these Me Too scenarios that keep popping up.
Because it reminds me of Epstein now.
It's totally Epstein. It's totally Weinstein. You know what I mean? This whole, it's just bad. It's bad. And because you are who you are and the level of who you are and the fact that people will do anything for their 5 minutes of fame, it's too much of a smorgasbord for somebody with freak behavior.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to you, Vi, for the last word on this, man, and then we'll get to our final takes.
Well, originally I thought he was done, but then listen, you said, I hadn't heard the part. They said they might go in to get some tapes. Now I'm hoping Puffy is smart enough when he left. He took his tapes with him, and if he took his tapes with him, that's probably why you have not heard anything concrete or charge against him. If they were there looking for tapes, because they still have not charged him with anything.
Or hard drives.
They haven't charged him with anything. They still say he can go wherever you want to go. So I don't know. This might not go nowhere.
Yeah.
If what you're saying is true, if they went in there looking for that kind of stuff, to make sure they can. Because if he got that kind of stuff on politicians and stuff, they're not going. They
don't want it to go any further.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. Very good point. Very good point. All right, let me start with you, Vi. What's your big take?
Well, I don't have much of a big take since I was not really watching news.
You were gallivanting.
Watch very little TV and very little internet this week. But
sucky now.
But what did catch my attention is the black athletes, man. Why we don't know how to handle these fast cars? You in a Lamborghini and a Corvette drag racing. Explain that to me. We don't have this guy in California, this great football player from Alabama, just got a brand new contract with the Oakland Raiders. He in jail. Now we got this other kid, just had a good year, Rice at Kansas City. Now he don't got caught doing the same thing. Only thing that's gonna probably save him, no one got killed or hurt. But now I'm here, they found enough marijuana in the car that he could get for transporting. So these kids in these cars, I mean, I don't know what to tell them or what we can't do to stop from doing it. Dude, stop drag race.
And I know that you didn't mention the UGA player that was going 91 in the 40.
NLI money allow these guys to get these nice fast cars. Like he wasn't even legally drunk. They got him for drinking because he was underage. But he was not. Right. But he was not legally drunk. They just got him because he did drink and he's underage. So stop flying in these cars, people. I mean, dude, just because you can afford it and just because they can go real fast, that don't mean you got to go fast in it. Just be sensible. That's my take. Black men with all this money, slow down. Slow down these cars.
Yeah. Go to you. No, he's right. I mean,
that last word was so grandpa, you know.
I am
these guys, young boy.
I am a grandpa.
As he sits on the porch.
Oh, man.
Y'all need to slow down. But he's right. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's ridiculous. I mean, you know, especially, and I want to mention this again. And I'm not coming down on the Bulldogs here, Vi, but it just does not make sense to have another player in a situation that you keep having.
All I can tell you, you can't watch them 24/7, and long as they get these calls,
understood that. Yeah,
boys gonna be boys sometimes.
No, because it goes across. If you're gonna say the NFL players, because a lot of these guys are 21 and up. I said, you know,
boys gonna be boys sometimes.
Okay, all right, Von.
Hey, not taking up for them. It's wrong. Right. It's just wrong.
You know, it's funny.
What you got, Talib? Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say one thing. I don't understand why, with all of these fast cars, Bugatti, you know, Ferrari, Lamborghini, why has no one set up just a track where people could take their cars and
you can't afford it?
Well, if you're buying a Lamborghini, you should be able to afford at least some rental time. You know,
yes. Spending my money on that.
I'm just saying, it's like, come on.
Or you know, you buy in ATL, you buy a Porsche, right? Mm-hmm. They have the Porsche track.
Exactly.
If you know, out in Hayfield, they got the, you know.
But the cars guys, they're not buying these cars. They're not even owning these cars. It's the NLI. They give them these cars. I'm not even saying they get to keep them. They get to keep them while they go to Georgia.
Right.
So can't afford it.
Okay. What you got? What's your take, Talib?
My take this week is I don't know. For something that I've been researching has been out for over a year. I've not seen anything until like these last 2 weeks, but apparently there is a new sexual term called gynosexual that's making the rounds. You guys haven't heard of this either?
Have not.
Okay.
Oh man, enlighten me.
So, according to WebMD, and this is an article from July 23, gynosexuality, sometimes spelled GYNE or GYNO, describes someone who is attracted to femininity. That means a person of any gender can be attracted to someone who identifies as female or who expresses feminine characteristics. Unlike sexual orientation terms such as homosexuality or heterosexuality, gynosexuality does not specify the person's own gender in relation to their sexual orientation. So people who are gynosexual may identify as male, female, non-binary, non-exclusively male or female, or another sexual orientation. So apparently, if you like the feminine form, then you are a gynosexual.
So where'd you see this? Did it come up in? I'm just saying. Did it come up in relation to like a celebrity?
No, this popped up. It actually popped up. I use Firefox and DuckDuckGo as servers, and they have this thing called Pocket, which is basically, just like a collection of various articles, from all over the web. And this popped up on one of them. And then that started the rabbit hole, and I'm looking around and all of a sudden there's, I'm seeing tons of information on this. And I've never, again, it's a term that's been in use for at least a year. And I've never seen or heard it before.
Wow, so, keeping up with the terms.
But hey, I'm
gonna
put my grandpa hat on. You know what I'm gonna call? Back in the day, what we call him? You just a freak. You just a freak. You just a freak.
Right.
There we go.
You just been a freak. I'm gonna say you're just nasty. You're just nasty. That's all. Just nasty.
Right. I'm
coming up on the front porch. There he is.
And again,
get out my yard.
The only reason I'm even really bringing this up at this particular juncture is just because, I think that in life right now, we just have way too many choices.
Way too many.
There's so many things that are being thrown at us, from every different direction. Some new belonging to some, something, that catches it's overkill. It's overload. That's what it is. It's sensory overload right
now. Is. Binary, gay, transsexual. I mean, good.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that's the world. I guess we're in a situation where we are. You got Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen Z, so on and so forth. We're Xers.
So I just need to ask you,
right?
And we didn't have to deal with that. It was but again, I guess it goes back, and I'm going to go ahead and give my take because Vi can go on from the porch forever. So I'm just trying to keep the show on track for a minute.
Like the porch.
And I'm going to say, and give him the last word. I am just going to say it goes back to the DEI thing. Everybody, you're dealing with a lot of people who identify based on their tribe. You've got a lot of people who identify these tribes and they're coming into one space. You got to know the tribes.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? If you don't understand, if you don't know the tribes and understand the tribes, then you may not understand the conflicts and the behavior.
Right.
So I'll leave that at that. My take for the week, y'all, because and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. I just want to say, going into this week as we tape, Biden is behind by 8 points to Trump in the recent poll. And you know the song "Sympathy for the Devil," Rolling Stones.
Yeah,
it is like, what else could it be but sympathy for the devil? It's like the worst of the worst gets the worst, and he goes up. I just don't know what to say anymore. It's like the worse it gets for him, the better his polling. And I am going to say this. I do think, just from a marketing standpoint, because I see some of the Biden ads, I think, and I want to, maybe we can talk about this next week, Biden's going to have to get spokespeople for him who people like. He's going to have to get people who will endorse him. And I'm not saying that these people would do it. It doesn't help when The Rock comes out and said, hey, I'm not going to endorse him this year, because he needs people who are famous to say, look, I'm supporting this guy because I don't want this. I don't want this. It's going to take a LeBron James. It's going to take a Taylor Swift. It's going to take a Beyonce. It's going to take some of these big names to come out and say, look, my people, I need you, whether you agree with them or not. Because ask yourself, who's going to do the same thing for Trump? I haven't seen anybody except for Chachi from Happy Days. I'm sorry. Did I? Scott Baio
has come out to endorse Trump.
Yes,
and we're all not celebrating.
I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, if you look at the people who come out and endorse or show up at the events, they're people nobody cares about. The people who most people care about, who are at the top of the polls, the ones who the celebrities or the names, just come out and say, look, hey, what's going on? Yeah. But to be down, for Biden to be down 8 points, at this point when Trump's getting hit left and right, losing these cases, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'll leave it at that. That's my take.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing I want to say on that is cult of personality.
Sympathy for the devil.
Well,
go ahead.
Or cult of personality.
Who did that song?
Living Color.
Living Color. Yeah. Living Color. Cult of personality. All right, I love getting your feedback, y'all, positive or negative, on our episodes. Go to castropolis.net. Choose the people poll. Leave us a message. I'll play it back. Again, appreciate you, Talib Shabazz. Appreciate you, man, jumping on for this week. Falcon hat and all. He's here. Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you again, the country commentator, man. Appreciate you, man. Yes. Yeah. Appreciate y'all, man. Let's go ahead and do the tea with Tonya B, and we'll come back right after this. Appreciate y'all again, man.
More. This is the G Podcast after the break.
Hey, this is Tommy B from This Is the G Podcast. I want to encourage all my G's who reside in the area of Jonesboro, Stockbridge, Covington, Conyers, South Gwinnett. That's the new Georgia Congressional District 13 to vote for Karen Renee for Congress. Karen Renee is a true advocate for her constituents and truly believes in empowering the people. Visit electkarenrenee.com for more information and also find out whether you're in the new District 13. Follow her campaign on Facebook at Elect Karen Renee. Let's support a candidate who truly represents the people.
Now then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tonya B.
Yes, children, it's time for tea with your girl Tonya B. This is the G Podcast, so let's get ready for some GT. Now, this week in history, we lost two major icons some years ago. April 1st, 1984, we lost the late, great Marvin Gaye. April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Nobody has been able to fill his shoes in all these years. We miss them both. And the struggle continues because the struggle, I can't even get it out. Tommy B, the struggle is real. Shout out to everybody who survived that earthquake on Friday. My goodness, it went from Connecticut all the way down to Baltimore. Then there was an aftershock. Can you believe it? My question is, who in that corridor has earthquake insurance? I hope everything is cool. Material things you can replace, loss of life, thank God there was none. This coming Monday, Jonathan Majors gets sentenced in that court case. Did you know Nick Cannon is now a supporter of April as Autism Awareness Month? He just released a statement saying that one of his 2-year-old sons, I don't know which baby mama it is, but they were recently diagnosed with autism. Shout out to all the parents and caregivers who take care of those people that struggle on the spectrum. Why are these two men trying to sue Michael Jackson's estate to unseal files when they took naked pictures of him back in the 90s? You know what? Leave them alone. I don't want to see Michael Jackson nude, and if you want to, you must be a straight up perv. That's all I got to say. Oh my goodness. LeBron James, his son Bronny, declaring for the NBA draft at the age of 19. I think he might be a little too young. This is a grown man's game. And besides, when he was at USC, he was not an A-list player. 5 points average per game, maybe 2 rebounds. Who wants this more, LeBron or his son? I don't know if they'll end up playing on the same team. I don't know if they're going to make history. LeBron, you've made history. I don't even know this young man's heart can stand it. I don't get it. All I'll say about this is diddy diddy bang bang, diddy diddy bang bang. More Diddy fallout. We tired of you. Go over in the corner with Neo and Nick Cannon and R. Kelly and Lizzo and the rest of them. I am so over this now. His son Christian's been accused of some of the same allegations filed against his father. Cassie is dealing with the feds. G-Dep's out of jail. Folks are talking. Folks are telling lies as well. There's more to this. Did you know what was taken from the house? How about phones, guns, drugs, computers, videotapes, and then there is a whole lot more. I'm telling you, go over there in the corner. Oh my goodness. Who asked for this garbage reboot of Good Times? I know I didn't. And a lot of people agree with me. Some of them are original cast members Bernadette Stanis and John Amos, who I heard have reportedly launched a petition to get this trash to go away. Now, I'm not talking about those people over there in College Park, but I'll just say this. I hope this mess with Escape, Tiny, Candy, the Scott sisters, and the mama and them can get worked out. This is not fly. That's all I can say. There's a whole lot of things that could end up in court. Don't come for me. I won't send for you. Lizzo, we told you to stay off social media, honey. Now, this whole post that she did last week talking about I quit, now she's backpedaling saying, I quit giving the negative energy any energy. Girl, you got lawsuits. You got contractual agreements. It's a shame. She's talented as she is unhappy. And you got to stop dipping it low and spreading it wide and expecting people to take you seriously. Okay, Lizzo? Do what Janet Jackson did and say, I just don't read it. She had like the gig of a lifetime. A lot of artists would give their left eye and eye tooth to have Radio City Music Hall with Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and Uncle Joe Biden. They raised $25 million. Girl, please, you were a part of history. Why is Mary J. Blige being sued 32 years later for her classic song from 1992, Real Love? That song samples the classic Top Billin' by Audio 2. Where y'all been, Milk D, trying to get this money? I think there's more to this. And if they suing Mary, they got to sue Puffy too. Lord knows he got enough lawsuits. Let me remind you about something. This solar eclipse is coming up here on Monday. There are suggested hours in every city along the East Coast and Indiana, wherever it is. Just Google and schmoogle it. There are some hours. There are suggested times you not even be behind the wheel of your car. Do not get the bootleg glasses. Do not look up at the sun, although it doesn't look like it's light outside, because you could damage your retina and your cornea with no looking back. No pun intended. It's your girl, Tonya B. This is how we do it each and every Sunday. This is the G Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Go to the YouTube channel, and don't forget the Birdwire on demand, Castropolis.net, 24/7. Have a wonderful and safe week, everyone.
Big thanks to Tonya B. Vide, Talib, author and political analyst Harold Michael Harvey. Big thanks to the crew, man, Millennial Nick, Lady J, Regia, music by K-Dub, all those who help us make it happen every single week. Also, to sign up for the final few rounds of Newsmaker Trivia, go to Castropolis.net. Win an autographed copy of the new book from author Harold Michael Harvey, Watch Night. Again, sign up at Castropolis.net. Also, subscribe, turn on notifications for all our new episodes. And with that, episode 219's in the can, y'all. Have a great week. Peace and power to the people.
You've been listening to This is the G Podcast. And This is the G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.